Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crunch Time GG, where we are getting ready to have Orbital. Let me make sure I get this right here. We have Gravity Star Esports versus USC JV Esports. Starting off on the blue side will be Gravity Star Esports, and it's seeming like a good game that we're going to have. It is rescheduled from our usual time of Thursday evenings. So this is just a rescheduled game from last week. We still have a game coming this Thursday as well. And to give a quick breakdown right now of the current standings in the Infinity League, we have this is going to also be a Group B match as well. So in Group B right now, we have two undefeated teams in Lit Esports and the Timbit Tobblers. And then we have Orbit Gaming Astral, and then we have Gravity Star Esports and USC JV Esports. So this is really a bottom of the table clash that we have tonight, but it's hoping to shape up to be a good one, as this could actually make sure that one of these teams makes it into the final, or into playoffs at least. But it's all dependent on what they do on the Rift tonight. And we are getting into draft right now, and immediately we see Rek'Sai taken off the board. If you are new to this right now, or maybe not caught up in some of the pro play that's been happening and some of the patch notes, Rek'Sai is a top tier top laner right now, super safe, and really is just a massive tank that can do almost everything that you want in a tank. So taking that right off the board, not even wanting to first pick it because they don't even want to, they may not have practiced it at all. It did take a nerf, but still very, very strong. As we also see a Nyla and a Volibear and a Tristana as well. So seems a little bit like it's a little bit of picks taken off targeted, but not all. But Volibear and Rek'Sai are just complete OP champions right now. It feels like in this current patch state. Waiting for this last ban here from blue side. It's going to be Silas, so taking out what I would assume to be a mid laner here, can go jungle, but is flexible in that role. And Jax also taken off the board. One of those still very good top or jungle picks as well, and very good at split pushing and dealing a lot of damage, especially with the utility of his Counter-Strike to make sure that he doesn't get hit all that often. And it looks like they're going to go for a hyper-scaling bot laner here to start in Jinx. One of these, I wouldn't say super safe, but very good, stable ADCs that can really do it all in the meta right now. And I'm kind of excited to see what else they bring to the draft and what the side of USC wants to counter it with. As the timer ticks down, about 5 seconds left to pick here, and we'll find out shortly. Looks like it's going to be a Kai'Sa, another very good one of these hyper-scaling picks. Falls off a little bit later into the game, but can definitely get into that backline if she gets access with her ultimate and get some of those stacks off. She can get into that backline and blow up a target before they even realize it. So definitely a good pick up there. And then to pair it with a Vi, that is quintessential. Just dive in, get someone blown up, and take them off the table. And to counter that, they're going to go with a Lulu. And this really is a pick if they decide to go with it, as it's being hovered right now, but I'm excited for it because you have that whimsy. You can stop the Kai'Sa from coming in, or you can ult the Jinx to make sure she's a little bit safer. So super duper excited as they do decide to lock that in, countering a lot of what USC has decided to draft up right off the table. And Maokai's also picked up another one of these really good junglers for controlling an area with saplings, with your ultimate. Just, it's going to be hard to get in because you're going to have to deal with so much engage from the champion with the W, with the ultimate, as well as you're going to be able to spot you out a lot easier than other champions might be able to because of those saplings. So they have wards and they have saplings that you do have to be careful of now. And then Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank has been coming back in the meta. It's actually quite interesting, especially into these squishier supports that are the enchanters. It really helps to kind of pick them off in lane, get some picks in the mid game. It is a little bit interesting to pair it with a Vi and Kai'Sa, only because if you're pulling someone in, you're most likely going to be pulling in a tanky frontliner. Maybe you get that god tier hook that you can actually then gather up one of those squishier members. But so far, it might be a little bit more difficult too, just by how Gravity Star Gaming has drafted so far. As we're now into the second round of bans, we have Darius and Talia taken off the board. Darius, one of these top laners that can just take over a game if it gets even 1 or 2 kills in the early game. Talia, another one of these junglers or mid laner now, shifting a lot back more towards the mid as well, that has a lot more of this zone control, can really transfer around the map very easily. Same thing with the Aurelion Soul. Really was like heavily buffed in the early stages of the season. That had to take it back quite a bit because it was almost beyond broken. So it's good to see that they've tamped him back down to size. But him getting taken off the board means they're going to have to come up with something in this mid lane that really complements what they've already drafted in this Jinx and this Maokai to get ahead. And we're going to see a Yone being that last ban. So with USC, where do they decide to go with their composition? That's what we're waiting to see. And it looks like it's going to be a Hui. So one of these sit back and let them come into you and kind of artillery barrage you down. He has so many different abilities that it's absolutely insane with just how safe and strong this champion is. So a really good pickup here to make sure they don't get caught out in this mid lane. And it looks like they're going to have a Seraphine pickup. Now that's interesting because they already have a Lulu. So it's either Lulu or Seraphine that I'm assuming is going mid with, it looks like to be an Olaf top. I'm going to assume it's a Seraphine mid only because you want that scaling to be a lot harder on the Seraphine, and getting her gold early and quickly and as often as possible is going to be key. Her wave clear did, I believe, get tapped down a bit with a few nerfs, so that you can't do like a farming Seraphine Senna lane type of thing that they had going on for a while there. So it is going to be a little bit harder to get the minion kills with her Q, but I think overall she should be fine, as it looks like it's going to be a Pantheon, really aggressive top lane there to counter this Olaf. I mean, that's an interesting pick that kind of throws me off guard a little bit, only because with Pantheon, you have a lot of burst damage. And if you can't 100 to 0 this Olaf right off the bat, there's no getting out of that engagement. And you have your shield with your E, but it's only an invuln for so long, and he's just going to run behind you. I mean, I'm assuming that Olaf is probably going to take Ghost, is going to wrap around behind you and start just beating you down with his axes. So definitely an interesting pickup there. If I believe that this Pantheon is going top against this Olaf, we'll definitely have to wait and see what they decide to do with that, as they are now getting into client draft. And to take a look at this jungle matchup just a little bit, we have Maokai versus Vi is what I'm assuming it's going to be here. And it's two very different styles of play. Vi wants to get active early on the map and really start to affect their laners, so that way their laners can get ahead, because Vi falls off the later the game goes. She doesn't get the damage, and she doesn't get as tanky as some of these other champions, especially if she goes with her Sundered Sky build. So that is something to keep an eye on. Whereas Maokai is fully fine, sitting back, letting his laners kind of scale up. You see this Seraphine all about protecting this Jinx and protecting this Olaf, and that's exactly what Maokai wants to do, right? He's going to sit back, let the team scale. He's going to scale decently well. Since he's in the jungle, he's been getting a decent amount of gold, and he's going to be able to build very tanky, and then just shut down whoever wants to come inside. If Kaisa dives in, he's going to W onto her and shut her down. If Vi goes in, that's exactly the same thing he's going to do to her. The only time that it's really an issue for the side of Gravity Star that I see is if this Seraphine or this Jinx gets blitz hooked, and then you lose one of these key components of this composition, where they can no longer deal the damage that they need to get through the rest of this line that USC has drafted up. I think right now, since we're just getting into the client draft, we're gonna let that go. We're gonna get through spectator draft, and so we're gonna send it to a break right now. When we come back, we'll be here for game one between Gravity Star Esports and USC JV Esports. Don't touch that button. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Gravity Star Esports versus USC JV. We are here. Looks like we're gonna have a five-man bot lane stack as we get started with game one. A little bit of a spicy start to it, as we do have a four-man stack on the other side. It looks like it's been potentially spotted out, maybe scouted out. Definitely interesting to see here. We're gonna do a little wraparound.
This is going to be interesting. Anytime with a Blitzcrank, you're always kind of interested to see how this plays out. This is a blind hook. This could be big. It's a ward down, and that's an easy pull. So you get the flash out of LVC, and I think that's a pretty happy time right now. So hey, Blitzcrank already working out with number one.
Yeah, absolutely. First Blitzcrank hook is always like a key one to hit. They got the flash out of Jinx, and it's really important, especially in like the mental, to land that first hook and to get something good out of it. It's kind of like that first Nocturne. Well, you want something to come out of it, and that's exactly what they got out of it. And now what they need to do is they need to punish it in lane. Jinx has no flash, and which means she's going to be a lot less safe when it comes to maybe these future hooks.
And the fact that you were able to hit the Jinx out of all of them, very nice target selection. And I like the fact that you pointed out that, hey, with the Blitz, you do want to be very effective because it is a champion that if you're not ahead, you are usually behind. So having some early presence, having some early value is going to put Teemo a little bit further ahead and hopefully allow the squad to kind of roll forward. So we'll have to watch where on the top side, Pantheon versus Olaf is another one to watch for. You can see the dueling though coming out in most other lanes. I mean, the top end bot going to be fighting since level 1. Mid lane is a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, mid lane is really just going to be a massive farm fest, it feels like. You have a Wei and a Seraphine. Seraphine's always pretty much going to be pushed in. She doesn't have good wave clear to start until she starts getting some points into Q into E. We're really going to see a lot of the firepower coming out of this top and bot lane, where you can see they're actually going in opposite directions. Kai'Sa and Blitzcrank getting the early push off, where Olaf is able to really punish out a lot of this Pantheon and start getting pushed off into this wave.
And that's going to be, the happenstance, if you will. Narcissus going with a little bit of the later scaling value. And in that vein, you are, I'd say, more than happy to kind of wait it out. That's why you see the focus here on the bot side. Easy pickup here from the Maokai. You knew the Blitzcrank was going to push. You knew the Kai'Sa's going to need help, but another punch is going down on the top side. That is going to be a nice little barrier to pop with the W, but it's still first blood. Rest of the team running for their life, as it is Gravity Star to try and get some revenge kills. They're just going to hunt down that Kai'Sa, and it's a much needed kill at the end of the day. I think
Oh,
Dahu Tudan is. I don't think. Yeah, okay. So you do get the auto attack. I was wondering who actually picks it up. It is going to be LVC to have it. So 1 kill apiece.
absolutely, but you can see that what happened now because the Kai'Sa survived for so long. One, she didn't give up first blood during that gank. Two, Seraphine roamed down, is now down 16 CS in lane to a Hui, who is going to outscale her in a sense in terms of the damage. So where do you go from here whenever you're now down this far just trying to pick up a kill like this?
Hmm. I mean, in the early game, I would be a lot more worried if this were, say, like a Zed roam on the side of Big Papi, or any other assassin that does need that lane presence or that lane dominance. When you play Seraphine, you don't have to dominate per se. You want to keep even. That's the big thing. And you also look at something like a Hui. It's, it's negligible. It's not the greatest thing in the world to be down CS or anything like that, but it's it's not the end of the world, to say the least. What you are worried about is keeping an identification on where the Hui decides to go. Uh, if you start losing vision of where the Hui decides to go, if you lose vision of where Zap goes, and Zap is able to kind of join up a little Luck, that is where I'd actually be very worried. For the time being, though, you did just help secure. You assisted in getting LVC, your Jinx, a hyperscaling ADC, a nice little lead, which is now going to lead to another spot. There's going to be Narcissus in the top side, trying to maintain a little bit of agency because you have the HP difference. It is going to be Narcissus to pick up 1 kill, and this is looking more like an Olaf lane for the side of Gravity Star.
Yeah, that's what it's always kind of. I was concerned even in draft when I saw this Pantheon pickup because Pantheon, once you kind of dumped your kit, that's really it. Whereas Olaf, you're gonna get dumped low by a Pantheon kit, but then you're just gonna be able to do a lot with it. It looks like we might have something happening here, but no, nope.
Udeer is just gonna get run out of town, and that's the best part. You don't want to allow this, this jungle mix-up, especially a Maokai, to get extra pieces. Normally, you have to give something to take those grubs. Because Udeer ganked on the top side, you don't want to allow them too much freedom on the top side of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a smart play trying to transfer that gank into that since you had the man advantage. But because the Olaf was so low, you couldn't quite make that play happen. I like the thought of the play. It's just they didn't quite have enough health on the Olaf to make that happen. And now Vi is going to go down to that dragon. And because of the pressure that they have in bot lane and the tempo of the backs, it looks like she's going to be able to take that pretty much for free, only having to give up the one grub for it.
And that's, you're not too worried about it. I think in that sense, there have been a lot of players and a lot of teams that are now highly regarding the single grub take. It makes it harder to hit that 5 stack, and you pretty much ensure that as long as you can test one more time around the grubs, you're pretty okay. The problem is that you did gift that dragon over at 6.5 minutes. So for the side of USC JV, you're off to a pretty good start. Granted, for the side of USC JV Esports, they are running with 3 different subs. So having this early start, getting the dragon and playing a composition that is benefiting off of individual, I want to say individual pressure. I like the start that they're going for, and they're going to continue. You know that LVC has flash, and you want to burn it as soon as possible so you get the flash out, but now the turnaround is going to be a lot different. Teemo knocked into the team as the lane gank is golden for Udeer, and that Jinx is going to pop off. 1 kill might not make a difference, but 4 will absolutely do the job. Burton picks up a kill, but it's still 2 and an assist to the Jinx.
Absolutely, and what looked to be so good to start off, that blitz, flash knockup hooking into the Jinx, exactly the target that you needed on the. They almost died, but they had that flash timers. It looks like the Olaf was looking for a gank there. Not quite able to do it. Did force the flash out of way though, which is important. But going back to that bot play, it's so important that the Jinx is able to turn around, and because otherwise they'd just be a little too far behind to make anything happen against this Kai'Sa. But now they're 3-0-1, 56 CS. They've already completed their static shiv at 8 minutes on in. They are absolutely a beast when it comes to these upcoming team fights.
And it feels good for this squad. This is the best start that you could possibly ask for a composition that is meant to be a very front-to-back style. This is the most, I want to say, traditional style of composition you could ask for. We were talking about the fact that Big Papi has that Seraphine in the mid lane, roam down to help out earlier. And when it comes to that factor, you sit there and go, okay, what am I actually going to get from it? What am I going to get from the roam? It's to ensure this Jinx gets ahead. This Jinx that, by all rights, is trying to get spoon-fed kills. Well, you just picked up extra on the bot side. Not only that, it's a Kai'Sa Blitzcrank, one of the lanes that has the hardest drop-off if you're not ahead. This Blitzcrank in Kai'Sa, all of a sudden, doesn't actually want to throw down with anyone, which negates a good 50% of what you're planning to do. Because of those kills, you get LVC on that static shiv. The wave clear is big, extra damage behind, and that now means Udeer is able to start focusing on that mid to top once again, or specifically around those grubs, pick that up, secure that objective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that they're going back to the grubs here. I have a big concern right now with this Pantheon in the top lane. This Olaf already has plated steel caps, which is one of the big things that Pantheon deals a lot of auto attack damages. Vi is just, she's out of position there. That was just an illegal move, I would say. You don't have a pushing bot lane. Your bot lane cannot roam to that play, and the opposing bot laner has a roam timer because their wave isn't crashing into turret. So you can't make that invade, and you already cleared a control ward in the top side, so they know that you're probably going to be there. But here we go again. You can see just what the issue is with this Pantheon into Olaf. He already has the plated steel caps, and Pantheon does not have the damage that he needs to cut through the Olaf healing and just armor from these plated steel caps that he has.
It's just a very, for the side of USC JV, it's been a very, I want to say, early game focused composition. It's a composition that really need to get off the ground early on to have value and to have that extra safety for the way to scale into the mid to late game. I like what they could have done, but the fact is a lot of your composition hinges on getting those early kills. So I love the fact that you rightly pointed out Narcissus already having value over this Pantheon, a champion that wants to roam out early, dominate the lane, look to try and influence the rest of the lanes. You can't really do that anymore. You're not allowed to do that for free. You're already down 15 CES. You're having a recall now, and the most you're going to have is just component pieces behind. You just picked Caulfield's Warhammer on the back end. Narcissus has that extra phage. Plus 2, you are going to be so happy in this situation. And if lane phase continues to extend for the side of Gravity Star, they're drawing the Gravity in as that's a punch over the wall. Little Luck going ahead, drawing that flash out, but the hook doesn't really land, and the Charm and Root keeps Teemo in place. Burton getting that wild growth down, but the Jinx is on the way. Keep in mind, this could be dangerous. Rocket goes out, gets the kill, and now you're excited. Yes, you picked up one, but how many more are you going to lose? It's a 2-for-1 trade that I think the side of Gravity Star are going to be happy about.
Absolutely. Yes, you lost the Maokai there, but your Jinx got 2 more kills. A beautiful rocket coming through. That super mega death rocket really did the super mega death onto that Blitzcrank, picking up that excitedness that really allowed them to secure the Vi, and now this dragon as well. Blitzcrank looks to be trying to make something happen here, but without the Vi on the map, you can't really contest this dragon.
It's just too difficult to. You lost control of the bot side. Even with the Vi, I would say you've lost control. You can't really contest unless you make sure that the opponents are not there. And this top side is going to continue. Take a look at this. heywil is not going to enjoy this. This will be a tower dive. It's almost an easy pickup and action on the back end, as you're not allowed to say heywil doesn't have anything. Remember, this is Narcissus with Ghost Teleport. The fact that you can run them down at this level holds so much strength. heywil will not enjoy the rest of this top lane.
No, he did manage, it looks like, to complete his Eclipse, so that's going to be a huge boon for him to try to hold off this Olaf. But I think that it might be a little bit too little too late, as he doesn't have the CS, he doesn't have the kills necessary, and he doesn't even have boots compared to the side of Narcissus, who has the Tiamat, boots, and Phage. Pantheon had to be ahead, and he's just not. And you were talking about how they've lost the bot side of the map. I don't even know if they have control of the top side of the map even.
They don't, and that is something that I really, really hate to say, because you don't want to say that. In a composition that is meant to win pretty heavy in the early and be able to give themselves that extra boost over towards that mid to late, their one saving grace, I would say, Zap is still doing okay. Hasn't had the greatest game, but hasn't had the worst game. Still a steady rock. If you can get through this early game, if you can wait it out another 20 minutes, hey, maybe you have that way in the back end. You can start building some fights and start getting some kills. At the current moment, we can see this bot side being tempered once again. Udeer literally on top of a ward and just trying to get some pressure down, because you know you want to do that with the Maokai. Udeer dancing off on the side. Burton as well on that edge, and they're going to try and draw the fight. Knight's Vow is ready to be procced in LBC, but it's going to be a Nature's Grasp going out here and not really finding any purchase. On the top side is really where we want to watch for Narcissus dueling it out, so every single lane currently under fire.
Yeah, I mean, you can see in that last skirmish down on the bot side, it was 3 rockets, and Kai'Sa already lost half her health without even being able to put except 1 or 2 autos into the Jinx, and didn't really do that much. So you can see just how far ahead this Jinx is compared to the Kai'Sa, as looks like Vi might get caught out here again. The Charm barely clipping Hui there, but nothing coming of it. And I didn't know that this is a build path here, but it looks like Kai'Sa built 2 Noon Quivers.
So this is a budget buy item. I do believe this is still Kraken Slayer build, and I wonder if it's Essence Reaver behind. I want to say, Static Shiv, and then might be Kraken Slayer as well. It's the same build as LVC had, per se. However, you budgeted down. Maybe it was an accidental pickup, but you are able to complete it. So Static Shiv is going to be contained. You make your way over to the next item. And the fact that Dahu Tuhadan is still able to match pace with the itemization for the time being, of course. I mean, we're going to see an explosive one, explosive purchase from LVC. It's still nice to see that the Kaisa is still going to have some relevancy if LVC or Burton kind of step out of position.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that the lane swaps have come through from the side of USC to try to make something happen, but
Oh, Zap. Zap is not going to enjoy this. I might trade your life. No, you don't, because you heal Narcissus with the 1v1 again.
yeah, and that's just the power of the Olaf. You see Pantheon now trying to walk top to make something happen, but it's a little too late. Vi's on the bot side to help secure this turret, but yeah, you're gonna get first turret, but this Olaf is accelerated, this Jinx is accelerated, and I'm worried about these upcoming fights that you've gotten a little bit of gold onto this Kaisa. I worry that it's not enough.
I would agree. That is a fear that we do have to sit here and watch for, but this might be the opportunity. You do draw the flash, and Killer Instinct goes in. Yeah, don't attack a minion, but this Kaisa needs to get the kill. Big Papi, though, allowed to kind of hang on here and waits for the TP to come in. Narcissus just gonna fly by with the damage. Doesn't need that Ragnarok. A TP from Zap does literally nothing as they have to run away. The collapse coming in here, though. Waves go out. So does the Nature's Grass. The fear only lands on one, but the root does enough. Narcissus and the rest of the squad are going to charge them down as it's an overall triple for the Olaf.
Absolutely, and that was a really good collapse from the side of Gravity Star to make sure that they can punish the over dive that happened onto Big Papi on the Seraphine. And now they've gotten the triple kill, and they've gotten Dragon. They're now sitting on 2 dragons, a Chemtech and an Ocean. It's an Ocean Soul. One more dragon, and they're on Soul Point. They're moving up to this Rift Herald, and they're looking almost unstoppable, it feels like. They had the later composition that came online a little bit later, whereas USC definitely had more of an early game focused composition, and it just feels like the early game composition just didn't get online.
And that's just kind of how it shakes out sometimes. Honestly, this is going to be Gravity Stars to lose. Of course, they could lose it here if this Herald is not played appropriately. Smite goes down. It is picked up. Teemo still looking for a hook. It's just not going to land. The fact that we called it out, a late game composition is already online in that mid game, still allowed to have a lot of power, I think does it a lot of justice. Gravity Star have done an amazing job here in the early game, and you mentioned it before, these teams are kind of at the bottom of the standings right now. They're in the lower half. I think both teams are sitting at 1-2 in series record, and they're hungry. They're hungry for a victory. We're seeing that Gravity Star are making their way forward, and even playing with a substitute top laner, Narcissus, stepped in for the team, wasn't able to really, I don't think their top laner was available at the time, so you know, it happens, but they've been doing extremely well. 12-2, almost 3K in the lead. At this point, I do expect to see the team, or I want to see the team, start putting pressure down on turrets, start rotating, and looking to clear up those tower objectives.
Absolutely, and a lot of what the next few minutes has to be is all about tempo play. You have this Rift Herald. How are you going to use it? Where are you going to use it? And how is it going to allow you to secure the next major objective on the map? That's the key moment that you have to look for. Baron's up in a minute, Dragon's up in 3 minutes, and it all comes down to this next Herald usage. They shouldn't need it on this top side. They may drop it here to get the tier 2 top side, but right now it's all based around this Herald and what happens. And you can see now it's being tossed top side, and it looks like they're just going to give this tower Pantheon recalled, and they're going to take mid lane tower for it instead.
I'm not sure you want to be in a base race right now. heywil just walks into enemy line, said, I'm not sure where I'm going, but it definitely is not here. That's massive tower pressure that Gravity Star take. Where you run into Udeer, you can take an inhibitor. We're at 20 minutes exactly, and the inhibitor has been broken. I was wondering when they were going to push, when they were going to start forcing the way into enemy territory. Gravity Star, get everything that they could want. It's now a chase in the mid lane as Big Papi is going to get challenged. But, I mean, are you really worried? Take a look. Yeah, the Encore. Rest of the team is here. You've walked right into it. And that is USC JV getting annihilated. It is an overall 4-0.
4-0, 3 towers, an inhib for a tower for one outer mid lane tower, and they're gonna get Baron if they don't lose it to this Vi who's walking in now. I want to say that there's a way for the side of USC to come back into this, but I'm just not seeing it. It feels like at this point it's Gravity Stars to lose, and I feel bad because I like what they tried to do with their composition, with the Vi, with the Kaisa, and the Blitzcrank, and the Hui. It feels off. They didn't get ahead when they needed to, and then they're just the play top side and mid just was a little bit too questionable for me to understand how they're going to get back into this game.
It's we don't like to call it. As casters, we don't like to call it. It's never fun. We don't want to do this. But when your comp falls apart this hard, and you don't really have that late game insurance, I mean, we could even say that the way is late game insurance, you still need a front line for that type of mid laner. It really does feel over in any sense. I think your big window of opportunity, wait for a pick. If you can get about 7 or 8 picks, maybe you can get back in the game. But at this point, it is Gravity Stars to win or lose. And I think they're making the right option here. It's a 4-1 split with Gravity Star holding in that mid lane with the Baron power play. You still have 1:50 on it, so that's huge, but that's gonna be a attempt in the mid lane. No real challenge as Nature's Gods comes out. It's a massive root value, and it looks like they have easy shred. Udeer is holding off in the front line. LVC is still alive. It is the oldest composition, the oldest bot lane combo in the bot lane to have that hyper carry threat. It is the Jinx Lulu to stay alive. 3 are dead. Gravity Star in 22 minutes. Looking great.
Yeah, absolutely. They knew what kind of comp they wanted to play. They weren't worried, and I think they just executed really well on their win conditions. They needed this Jinx to get ahead. The Jinx got caught out in that initial blitz hook, and it kind of caught everybody off guard, I think, on that team. But they were able to bring it back. They ganked that bot lane. They got them ahead, and then they just kept steamrolling it. And they didn't really have to worry too much about topside. Yeah, you went down on that initial gank to give first blood over to the Vi, but the Vi went Sundered Sky, so they were never really all that like tanky for these later fights when they were behind. And unfortunately, because of that, they just weren't able to withstand the pressure that this Jinx brought in, that this Olaf brought in, because where was the tankiness and where was the utility from the Blitzcrank, because they were just so far behind.
It feels bad when that happens. And, you know, you stated at the beginning, this is a late game composition. It's going to be powerful. And Gravity Star, they pulled it off. Now we get to see if they can do it again for game number 2. We will be going to a very short break, so please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more Crunch Time Infinity League here in just a bit. right, and we are here once again, ready to go. Excited because this is gonna be fun. Gravity Star looking very strong at the start here in a very impressive game. Granted, the composition held out very well, but I mean they're looking to really roll on a 22-minute game. Ice, that is crazy to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was kind of blown away that they got top inhib, and I was expecting, okay, top inhib with Herald, that makes sense. We should still see probably another 10, maybe 15 minutes of gameplay. But then all of a sudden, it was just like the game was over. It was crazy.
And I think that does lend one of the big reasons is because of how well the team kind of moved together as a squad. We saw them all group up. We saw them all work together to really make their way into the enemy position. And huge shout out to Narcissus. At that same time, Narcissus was a beast in the top lane in their own. And I think that shift was really the big part of it. I don't think we're going to see that exact same draft out of the side of USC JV, but if it does, I hope they have a better plan for the early game.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they drafted an early game comp and they never really executed on what that comp was supposed to do. They lost bot, they lost top, and there was really no place for them to play through with this early game composition that they could actually utilize a lead and get them through to when that Hui comes online. So it was very unfortunate. But whenever you draft an early game composition like that, and then you lose early, the game is going to be over fast just because there's nothing that comp can do. And it's very unfortunate, but it's a gamble that teams take, hoping that they can fight against these later scaling comps that are just so powerful.
And as we're into draft here for game number 2, you can see where the power USC JV think that this game is at and where the series is at. They take away the Jinx as they are on the blue side to kick things off here. This is going to go to Skyo, who is their main ADC. I believe Dahu Tudan is going to be out, who was a sub for the previous game. Not going to be here in this game number 2. But on the flip side, Udeer is going to play that infamous Udeer. No, Maokai. It is going to be Maokai being played. Once again, had a lot of early success. But this is where the shift is going to be. Lucian hovered, and if locked in, you have to be real worried about that Milio to come out as the support. Instead, they do flex to the Varus. This one makes a little bit more sense, as you're not guaranteed the Milio.
No, but Milio would still be a very strong support and a very similar style to what they played in game one. The Lulu is still up, and it's not a terrible combo with Varus, but the Milio is just slightly better still. I would expect to see, it depends on what the side of USC drafts here, and they're actually going to take the Milio for themselves, not wanting to give that over. So the Lulu is up. You have tank options now as well because it is a Varus. And for all we know, Maokai support is still a thing. We saw Udeer pilot it, but it can always still go support, especially with a Varus. It is a strong support to play around.
Mm. It's too real as that bot lane is fully committed. And now you get the easiest engage in the world. I really like it, the J4. This is something that I think in the previous game, you would have liked to see, a little bit more. But of course, because the side of USC has gone ahead and banned away that Vi itself, we knew that a different jungler was going to come out here. If that blitz, I know that's a hover. I know it's a hover. And we just saw it last game. This is the gauntlet. It is. Oh my god. The
They
gauntlet
actually
thrown down from Gravity Star.
I like it though. I mean, this is
True.
exactly why we have competitive esports. It's for these moments, right? It is for these. I saw you play this and I can play it better and I'm going to show you that I can. And I love this gauntlet throwdown. They're two bottom of the pack teams, right? They're both fighting for playoff spots and you're still getting this style of I'm better than you ego picks in the Blitzcrank, and I'm excited. I love this stuff to come through whenever I'm casting League of Legends.
To be fair, it's not even really that big of an ego pick. We do know that when you're running a Milio on one side, you do have to worry about engaged champions. The easiest way to draw a Milio out is to land that hook. So in this, it really does make sense. It is surprising to see it in a game 2 fashion when you saw it in game 1. Now looking at the other lanes, we are seeing the banouts of the Darius in the top side. I believe Gravity Star, they banned this in game number 1 as well in round 2. The surprising thing, though, is it is going to be USC JV to go ahead and ban out the Olaf. I think that was very necessary. But you're still going to have to blind pick your top laner. And I think that's what Narcissus is going to be more than happy about. That Jax coming through as well does leave open. I think it was Yone, I want to say, that they had last time. So Narcissus, make it the Yone if they so wish. This is going to be that blind pick mid for the side of Big Papi. Big Papi. Seraphine had some value, had some nice power, but against the J4, you don't want to get caught. So you're going to go for the more mobility heavy mid laner.
Absolutely, and I really like this Ari pick with the rest of the comp that they've drafted and with what the side of USC has drafted. You have this Jarvan that has this flag and trap combo, but it's very like you can tell when it's coming, right? And with
Yep.
this Ari, you have a lot of escape tools to play around this Jarvan, as well as you now have a Varus and a Blitzcrank. So even if the Jarvan does manage to maybe somehow get their ultimate onto the Ari just dashes out and it's perfectly fine. So definitely an interesting
Oh.
and fun pick. Then bringing out the Aatrox. You struggled with the Pantheon, so now you're coming back to a little bit more of a traditional top laner, but one that still needs to get ahead in order to do well. This is not a pick that you can be behind on and still play effectively. So it's going to be curious to see, can they actually pilot this against something we don't know yet? They've saved counter pick on the side of Gravity Star for last, and they decided to now go.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, this is done. This is a big gauntlet throwdown. Normally, I would look to this lane and see more of a Renekton pickup. I do believe it's a skill matchup when it's Aatrox and Renekton.
it
But
is,
the
yes.
set is a bully moment, I think. This is straight up, I'm going to stand and deliver on your face, and you might not enjoy it. Not only that, it leans into Narcissus in a very heavy hand. I think that's locked in. Ice, we have a beat. Oh, okay, there it is.
Oh,
That's what I was saying. I was like, no way this set actually goes in.
I mean,
But they
I
do lock in
like
the
the set
Renekton. This
hover.
this makes more sense.
Yeah, I think the set would have been a perfectly good pick, even, but the Renekton, it's more safe. You have a lot more agency with it. And it is a skill matchup in a sense against the Aatrox, but with the Renekton, it's a little bit easier to dodge out on those sweet spots from the Aatrox Qs. You can get into the backline a little bit easier with your little slide. So you have a little bit more that you can do, but you're also just this beefy, tanky person that is also going to be hard to get through for this Jinx. Jarvan doesn't want to go up there because the Renekton would love to have two people up there to get his Call the Meek on and heal off of it. So I really worry about ganks on the top side because this Aatrox, if it's like last game, I worry about that lane and then bringing a Jarvan into the mix. The Jarvan doesn't bring damage early. Renekton has damage abundance early. And I think we're going to see a lot more topside focused play coming out from both these teams with the style of comps that they've picked around this top side.
I'm excited to see what they can do here. This is going to be a big test because for the USC JV squad, they need to win on the board. They don't want to go 1-3 in this situation in the league because the regular season is running out quickly. We're going to go to a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll have game 2, which could be the end of the night, but I know USC JV wanted a little bit more. Don't go anywhere. And we are set to go. Very excited to see this game break down. And, we were taking a look at the standings earlier, Ice. We were saying, hey, these teams are playing for something. You notice something very important right now, that this game has a lot on the line, specifically for playoffs.
It really does. So whoever wins tonight guarantees their playoff spot. If you look at the standings right now, we have two 4-0 teams. Orbit Gaming Astral is at 1-3. These two teams, Gravity Star Esports and USC, are both 1-2. This would put them at 2-2 above Orbit Gaming Astral and securing their spot as third place in the group going into next week. Key about next week, it's the last week of regular season. So wherever everybody lands at the end of next week is where you're going into playoffs if you make it into playoffs. So this game is ever so crucial into what happens for playoffs.
So important to see. And I like this fact. You can see, even though the Blitzcrank is had by Gravity Star, you say, no, we're not going to invade. That's too cheesy. That's too obvious. Not only that, heavily warded out by the side of Little Luck. Went ahead, dropped that early ward, and said, hey, I can recall. I can keep ourselves safe. So it's going to be a much more standard start to this game. A simple time, no worries. Of course, for that same vein, this does allow the Bush King to go down, so Burton is going to have a strong time. Last time around, I believe on that Lulu was looking pretty dang good. This time around, looking a little bit sharp as well with that B-Crank, I think is that skin.
I think so, yeah. It's an interesting skin for sure. Yeah, that is B-Crunk, and I mean, we talked about it last game. The first hook is always important for that mental, both against Blitzcrank and for Blitzcrank, because Blitzcrank hooks are better if you don't use it in the sense of you always have to be aware of it, but because it was used and it was hit successfully, now you're on alert for this next one.
And it's just going to be keeping your mind up. A huge change on the top side, though, is Narcissus. I mean, I'm really watching Narcissus. This is going to be a big challenge. Game one, it was a little bit more on the nose. The Olaf is a little bit more powerful. This one's a little bit more standard. Also in the mid lane, a big part, Zap, pretty much one of the returning champions that they played in game number one is big, but Zap is going to get caught out here. First gank by Udeer. Zap does get shoved to the top side, but is slowed still. Misses a massive fireball, and that should just mean death. Knocked away again. Flashes to try and get to safety. That's going to be a dive underneath. Because of that, it's easy kill. Udeer, though, gonna try and run away. Oh, what a charm! What a charm! No way! And then the heal happens again. Little Luck might be able to get the kill. No! What a dive in! A root comes out as Udeer is gonna get sniped down. And now the bot side is gonna have a fight as well. Teemo is gonna get rooted up. Auto attack down to death. LVC is gonna flash short. And did you get the ghost off? It's an E to finish. Is Burton gonna fall? I don't think so. Skyo misses out. Oh no, things are turning disastrous right now. Another 3 stack as it's a blind pop for real. Skyo might go down. Another E. Auto attack gets it. LVC and Burton lay down the pain. Mid lane as well was exceptional. Gravity Star bringing the gravity of the situation.
Absolutely. They know the gravity of their situation, pun fully intended. And they are playing for their playoff lives. And you can tell it happened last game too. They were engaged upon with the gank last game. Here's another time in the mid lane.
This hurts way. Someone that was not bullied out in game number one is now getting sliced and diced. And it's so easy because there's no flash. You're immobile. You're away. And we mentioned this. The composition for the side of USC, it's much better. It is much better. It's a lot more, we want to say standard. There's a lot of stability behind it. That is if you don't lose in the early game. It's happening again. And I mean, the timers, I'm not sure you're going to be allowed to fully stack up. 4-1. Everyone getting a piece of the action.
Absolutely. This Varus is now 2-0-0. Already has the serrated Dirk at 5 minutes. I mean, this is one of the earliest serrated Dirks I've ever seen casting League of Legends, and it's going to be super powerful. They have a 1,000 gold lead across the map, and you can just tell Renekton pushed his wave perfectly to make sure they can get that roam off, and it's just now crashing, and they're able to pick it up. It's just across the map. They're making the macro plays that they need to make in order to secure themselves an early game that they can build from.
And a lot of these things are just very interesting to see. This is now going to be another challenge on the top side. Narcissus coming back with an extra kill and the CS lead means this Renekton, this counter pick setup is going to be brutal, to say the least. heywil having stepped in here once again as a sub top laner, just trying their best to help out here. Little Luck though, saying, hey, I'm getting aggressed on. I'm going to play safe. Remember, Maokai, you don't actually want to fight the enemy jungler. You just want to play smart. You want to be there, try and get some kills and, assist in the lanes, especially with the Mountain Drake. Play for those drinks as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. A Maokai is very much around your zone controls and controlling the map. Not so much about getting kills like a Vi or and not even a J4 really, but
What?
Okay.
What?
I was confused by that.
Udeer didn't care, and I love that. Oh no, the Blitzcrank is safe. Hook should be up in a few more seconds, and maybe you can continue, and that's gonna be the hook.
There
You
it
draw
is.
him in. You got this perfect hook. However, it's too many members. Udeer though wants the power and is gonna throw him back. You get the flag and drag out. It is turning around. Skyo able to pick up the kill, and I mean that's a great trade, but it's one. Notice how much they had to expend to get that kill. USC JV.
Look at Ari.
I mean, I think they're lucky to get a kill out of that.
They are. And it looked like Ari might have been going for a roam down the bot side, and it just didn't quite happen. Walking around the mountain dragon wall there, and just decided against going into that. As you can see, they're already trying to get back to this dragon side, maybe to stop potential dragon take, because mountain dragon is one of the more one of the stronger early game drakes that you can grab. Excellent soul, but if you're gonna get a single, mountain dragon is definitely one of those that you would really like to have.
I think it leans into like mountain is like second, and then in just like a basic ocean dragon is really nice to have at the start, right? Level,
Yeah.
the first dragon to have. I mean, both of them provide so much ability in the back end. Only reason we would say Infernal is no, because we want to see all Infernal. That's the only reason we say that. It's still good to have. However, that's going to be a dragon over the wall. Topside, we were seeing the fight happen, but that was an attempted steal on the bot side. It looks like Narcissus might not actually enjoy this. We are looking at that dragon mainly, and it is Narcissus to win it out, but Burton is going to run. Flag and drag with the flash is going to get Udeer's life, and Udeer does not have flash to help. It's a charm on the back end, as Skyo is going to get a cleanse off, and Big Papi has to run for the hills. Remember, that fight happened without the likes of LVC. Still, a much-needed win on the top side. A needed win for USC JV, though, as they did lose out on the Dragon.
Yeah, absolutely. They won the fight, which is good. It's gotten them some gold back. They had a pretty disastrous, very early laning phase that they've now been able to come back, recover from, and start to stabilize a little bit. They got those kills now onto the Jinx, who's 2-1-0, has that Noon Quiver, is starting to scale up into the matchup a little bit, but again, on the top side, just like before, Narcissus is really feeling like he's bullying this lane.
Yeah, Narcissus, at this point, this counter pick is looking glorious. And at this point, it's just like, yeah, that's a dub. I'm sorry. It's just too real of a fight. This is what I was worried about, though. That arrow is just so easy. LVC and Burton making it look buttery smooth on how to play the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a perfectly executed, just workaround. You notice he didn't throw it immediately when he saw something happen. He waited and waited and waited and then threw it out, because he knew if he threw it too far back, where Teemo on the Milio could have an opportunity to flash it. He has flash. He could have flashed it, but because it was almost point blank, there was no chance to flash it. Able to secure that kill, and very well done to the side of LVC and Burton on how to play that.
It's just, honestly, the early fights have been juggly a little bit, with Skyo getting some kills, with Sap getting some kills, who do have a majority of kills, as you can obviously see, 2 apiece. It's crazy because this is what we want to see. We want to see Zap and Skyo for the side of USC actually come out with some early kills, and on champions that do lean into the mid to late. It's great. We're just worried that the other side is doing just as well. We are seeing Gravity Stars still have a lot of power behind, and I will say, for the first time seeing these teams, I'm wholly impressed on how Gravity Star are winning this early game, and it makes me terrified for the two 4-0 squads at the top of the standings. I'm going to be very, very interested to see how this playoff actually runs out.
Yeah,
Main thing, though,
absolutely.
in the mid lane, Big Papi. That's the one that I'm also watching to still try and pop off on this Ari.
Yeah, Big Papi on the Ari is really going to be one of the major carries of this team, as it looks like Narcissus is going right back in onto this Aatrox here.
Yeah,
And
heywil's not enjoying this.
no, I mean, Dominus was popped by the Renekton, but it forced out the World Ender, and it just doesn't
Oh,
matter. It just
it's
doesn't
just that easy.
matter. Yeah.
It's just that easy. And now it's going to happen in the mid lane again. Zap splashes, but still lands in the charm, and it's the CC chain to oblivion. There ain't no way to stay safe, and you are a dead. Narcissus going to be trading out their life after getting a plate. And that's a dodge on the flag. What a read by Narcissus. The swag walk away for the final bit of damage.
I mean, that is what you worry about as Jinx Rocket's actually caught by the Maokai because they were trying to maybe catch out the Ahri to stop getting plates going over. So the Super Mega Death Rocket being tanked by the Maokai, stopping his recall, but allowing the Ahri to get another plate taken in the mid lane. That is huge. Massive plays happening around the map. This Renekton already has Eclipse and plated steel caps, and it's only the Brutalizer for this Aatrox. I mean, the massive gap in this top lane is really worrisome. I know that heywil is a sub, and it's always hard coming onto a team as a sub because expectations are even greater than if you were a starter on the team, right? So you really feel for this matchup because the synergy just may not be there, and then because you're coming in, it just doesn't feel right, and it sucks that this is like the game that we're seeing.
I think there's a lot to have. And again, with the Infinity League, I'm interested to see which teams do get to stick around as well. And, you know, the development side of things, it's going to be interesting. I like the change that they had to the composition, though. So, you know, there's still plenty of game to be played. And maybe we get to see some shakeups here. As we are going to get this upcoming dragon. We mentioned it. These are the two probably greatest solo dragons to have. Mountain and ocean. You can control both the ground and waters at this point. All you need is a sky, and you got a trifecta. I really don't want to see Cloud Soul. Don't give me Cloud Soul. heywil on the top side. Not going to enjoy this. You tried to dive under the tower. You took 2 tower shots, and I don't think you're dead, but you burned a lot there. World Ender and Flash. Not going to have that up for any ensuing fights for the time being. Dragon, though, started as this is going to be Gravity Star looking to get a second dragon on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. We see a battle line being drawn here on this bot side as Blink.
Oh, that's mean. That is just healing coming out here. The cleanse as well, but it doesn't really do too much. Spiraling Despair, they're going to slow everyone down as this might be the turnaround. This happened last time as well. Burton going to flash over the wall, flash into the wall by Skyo, and you can't get around. So the fact that it's only junglers traded out, I mean, that's, I think, considering how badly it could have gone for the side of Gravity Star, they got away pretty much unscathed.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is on the top side of the map, because of the play that happened from heywil, Renekton is able to take that turret. So first turret going over to this Renekton, who's already scaled heavily into this matchup, is getting even more gold. Now sitting at 2,700 gold in the lead over this Aatrox, and you can really see the amount of pressure that he has. He's now walking toward this dragon, making sure that his team can secure it.
Oh, man. I mean, Udeer has also had a large presence. You're the only one that's really died on the team. Keep that in mind. We've seen deaths go down. We see the score in 9-5. But when a majority of them are on Udeer, when you're making plays for the rest of the team, I honestly think that's negligible. It's not your carries. It's not like everyone else is getting massively fed off of a Maokai. You only have 3 assists. You're not actually worth a lot of gold. So with what's going down, huge props to the side of Gravity Star as they are managing to get extensive leads now. And Ice, the best dragon to ever have, in my opinion, outside of Infernal, it is Hextech Soul to be played for.
Absolutely. I'm glad we got an actual soul to play with and not the Cloud Soul, because I don't consider that to be an actual soul or dragon. It just doesn't do anything. As we do get a pause here, doing some quick resetting of the Wi-Fi, it looks like, for the bot laners, as they were having a little bit of a connection issue, but we're back. That's a nice thing, is that pauses don't last as long for us when we're on these spectator delays. But with that, you can see you're talking about these Maokai deaths. He's 0-4-3, but he knows he's not really all that important to the team in terms of tankiness or damage output because he's built the Knight's Vow. He's solely here to get in there, disrupt, throw out his ult, and make sure that this Varus and this Ahri stay alive as long as possible. And that's exactly how he's already itemized to make sure that happens.
He's going to be a powerhouse, and I'm scared. I am very, very scared. heywil also getting scared, realizing that the top side is controlled. And this is also a much bigger part of it. Yes, you didn't get all 6 grubs or anything like that, but you got enough. And you get Herald. This is going to allow your composition to really thrive in that early status, and Udeer is able to carry it wherever you so wish. None of the towers have fallen, or top side has fallen already, but now you get to break open mid. And remember, the last time the Herald was available, this was Gravity Star literally taking everything. They took the entirety of a top side lane. They got, I think it was 2 towers and an inhibitor at minute 19. And we see that again. Yeah. I can only imagine this is going to go badly. Big Papi, though, getting a rune in, and that's an easy death. This is why they picked up the Ahri. Big Papi, 2-0-2, withstanding a 1v3.
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful spirit rush to get outside of that flag and drag, make sure they don't get knocked up, taken out, because you had the way with the fear. You had the Milio that can use their knock up. And then it's, of course, the Flag and Dragon ult coming through from that Jarvan. So dodging out on that initial engage saved them from any follow-up engage that also would have happened with damage to kill them. So very, very well done by them. And like you said, they started off at minute 19 with that Herald, took 2 towers, took inhib, and then not 5 minutes later, they ended the game. So let's see what they decide to do with this one, because we talk about how crucial it is to use one. It is even more crucial in this game because of how these comps are still very close in how they want to play.
Oh, Burton. Oh, Burton. Cleansing gonna save you from the raw damage. Like, this is crazy. And the fact that even the TP was canceled by heywil, oh, Narcissus ain't gonna like that. Bot lane still teetering out of control. And Narcissus is like, yo, you cancel my TP, I am going to decimate you here in the top side. Gravity Star dropping stars on him and saying, this is our series to win.
Yeah, absolutely. They use Herald bot side. We can see just how mad Narcissus is at his TP getting canceled, because he's not even allowing this Aatrox to farm under tower, let alone catch any CS. So this Herald being used does manage to get taken out, so they don't get a second tower, it looks like. Oh, it did go.
Yeah, this is actually a really nice collapse here from the side of USC JV. What a powerful move here. I really, really like it. They needed something. They needed something to happen here, and they're able to get the kills. Honestly, though, it's only a consolation prize. I hate to say it. They expended, what, double TPs? They've lost most of the towers on the bot side. Guess who's still pushing on the top lane? But you got kills. That is what I'm happy to hear. Charm goes out as Big Papi is going to run for their life. Looks like they're safe. Honestly, consolation prize, you get a little bit more gold. You get the shutdown on LVC. Yeah, and you get bot side tower. That's step number 1. We have about 7 more to go.
Yeah, that's step 1 on the 12-step plan to coming back into this game. But I mean, it's really important that they got that. It was very well played by them. The unfortunate thing is because this, as it looks like, maybe this Aatrox is going to get taken out here. Yeah. Just staying a little bit too long there. They lost they lost, of course, the top lane tier 2. They lost mid lane tier 1, and then Aatrox goes down on the backside. So they made a really good play, and then they overpushed it a little bit. So instead of just losing the 2 towers for all those kills and shutdowns, they then also lost Aatrox on top of that. And
no. They didn't just lose Aatrox. They didn't just lose Aatrox. They lost poor Teemo on the Milio. And it's just raw domination at this point. This huge congrats to Gravity Star for this immaculate 2 early games. They've shown me a lot, and I really like clean gameplay. I'm a big proponent of clean gameplay. This game too wasn't exactly clean, but
No.
it's strong. The entire team has come together for a very strong collapse and power, and you can even see it here. Even though Narcissus is kind of caught out here, I don't even think he's dead. I lied. I might have cast a curse it. He's dead. But Burton following up behind. Remember, this is a bait. All they care about is securing Dragon.
Yeah, absolutely. That puts them on soul point at 19 minutes and 50 seconds. So that means at 24 minutes and 50 seconds, soul is on the board. Does this game go on that long? I don't know with how it's going with how last game went, but it gives them a good opportunity for a win condition, right? You always want to, if you're playing a composition like this that has early game champions like the Renekton, you kind of have to win a little bit earlier than maybe a more stock standard composition like that of what USC does. And the best way to do that is force a fight on your terms. And the best way to do that, force a soul fight. And that's exactly what they've done. At 25 minutes, essentially, there's going to be a soul fight that USC has to take because they can't just give up a Hextech soul. It's not a cloud soul that doesn't matter. This is a hugely impactful soul that if you just give it up, you're basically handing over the game.
I think a huge part of that, the reason it's so impactful, you get the ability haste, you get the extra attack speed, and then behind that, you also get the slow. There's so many little pieces to this that would negate a lot of what USC JV want to do. They want to run away. They want to get away. You want the Jinx to be safe. You want the melee to have impact. I mean, you can't when a Hextech soul is literally beating you down. So I agree. That soul is going to be played for. It's going to be a problem. Now, here's the good part. A lot of those kills are shutdowns that have gone through. A lot of extra gold just swung right back in favor of this squad, and that's why we're seeing it's only a 2K difference. However, Burton wants to make this happen. Remember who's strong. They're just lining up for little luck. Little luck turns into a lot of despair as they're going to chase Big Papi, though, gets right in the mix. It looks like Little Luck is safe, and Big Papi's just dead. What a turnaround. This Ahri is looking like they're having problems, and I think that's a kill on the bot side as Zap gets taken down to 1v1. Still, though, maybe this game isn't as easy as we originally thought for the side of Gravity Star.
Yeah, it looks so good to start off that fight with Little Luck getting caught out there and missing the actual drag on the flag and drag so he couldn't escape, but just that little bit of extra shielding and healing coming through from the Milio, making sure that he could stay alive, made sure that they actually turned that into a one for one across the map because unfortunately Zap did go down to the Renekton in the bot side, so a 1-for-1 overall map-wise, not terrible for them, right? You need to make these little trades so you can start coming back into the game. That's step 2. You need to get that big fight that gets you that little bit of gold that you need to get started. And then the next step is doing these trades that you might be a little bit down on, but overall, you're still getting something for it. And that's what they're doing. They got the 1 kill. It was a shutdown onto the Ahri, and that's what they needed. Now let's see them build on that some more and send this to a game 3.
They are going to want to have a little bit more power behind, as you said, build those building blocks, have that foundation set for what will be hopefully a mansion of a game. Maybe not a crumbling fort. Mid lane is going to fall, and that's a hard dive in. LVC losing that flash, and I think that's a worthwhile trade. Burton, though, looking to help out. That is going to be TP on that stand. You can see there, LVC losing a little bit of power behind. Isn't able to really shred through. And now Burton's caught in a bad spot. Has to flash away. Doesn't land the flash hook. It's going to be a turnaround. Heywil able to stay safe, but the rest of the team is here. Narcissus going to kind of wander their way forward. I wonder where they're going to go. Narcissus seeing Teemo off on the edge. Do they really want to re-engage? I don't think so.
Looks like they may actually be looking to re-engage here.
Oh,
Good
wow.
double flag and drag there, but is it going to be enough? This Renekton's so tanky.
It's too tanky as Udeer is right in the mix, and that's a flash over the wall. It's not going to happen. LVC with a beautiful piercing arrow on the blight stacks, and now the hook again. Teemo drawn out of the fight. Udeer straight to the back, and LVC is alive the entire time. 8-1 into a 4-for-2 as Gravity Star bring it right back to their home planet.
Absolutely. I mean, what a play that was. And it looked very dicey there. That Sterix gauge coming in huge for that Renekton to give him just that little bit of extra sustainability. Yes, he did go down, but he did so much work in the back end of that fight to make sure that they were so disrupted. They couldn't focus down LVC. They couldn't focus down Big Poppy. And those two dealt the damage that they need to the targets they needed to win that fight and also get them control around this Soul Dragon of Hextech.
This is desperation. You can see how fast the rest of USC JV are trying to rush towards this dragon. And granted, if they play front to back, they have a real shot at this, but they got to get there quickly. This is little luck, needs a little luck, needs the namesake to get this dragon. And even then, it's a long haul to get the soul of their own. They're going to have to do this 4 times in a row. Look at a little bit of the filtering. They need the auto attack damage on this dragon. It's going to be an attempt, little luck, able to hang on. Is this going to be a steal? I mean, it's a little bit of contention. Maybe it is behind, but I think I'm a little bit frozen. I'm not sure what's going down. It's going to be a little bit of a payout. It looks like it's a draw in. That's going to be Nature Scrap to try and keep him away, and the Smite gets it! Little Luck is able to steal away the dragon, and that is power behind, but will the death behind actually work? Remember, that's just one part of the puzzle, and it looks like they've lost 3, and honestly, it's a little bit of a slowdown. Well played on the side of USC JV, but they leave Baron completely exposed.
Yes, they do, and I froze there too for an instant, but I was able to get it back, and what a play that was. I mean, stealing that dragon was so important to deny that soul, but are they going to be able to continue that? That's what's key. You've got the first one, you now need 3 more without losing your base with the side of Orbit Gaming Astral, or Gravity Star, I don't know why I said that, Gravity Star Esports getting the Nexus.
Yeah, that was difficult to watch, I gotta say. I mean, this is looking real good for the side of Gravity Star. And we're gonna watch this again. I wanted to take a look at this because this fight kind of embodied everything that we were hoping to see USC JV bring. You can see they do have some power behind them. But you called it, right? Narcissus in that back line is just looking to kind of zone away Skyo and Zap. As long as you do that, you can go ahead and be able to utilize the rest of the power. You can see kind of that front-to-back split that helps out. So really, really liking what they're throwing down here. I think we are having a couple difficulties with the replay. I do apologize about that. But, you know, it's see how it goes. Maybe... We're going to try it one more time. We got to see this level play again. The steal for Little Luck.
And that was such a big thing that they were able to get, right? If they don't get that steal, I think this fight actually is just a huge sweep in favor of Gravity Star Esports, but it's lucky they got it. So they didn't get soul, they didn't get those slows, they didn't get that little bit of extra tick damage that might have been able to pick off the Jinx and the Hui, slow them down enough for everybody to get on top of them. And it looks like we're still having some issues coming through from the client. While we look at this, there is some issues that Riot has come out and said they are still having some of these issues. Usually they happen around the 5-minute mark, so this is a little surprising that this is happening again. We are trying to handle this on the back end, and as soon as we have more information about this, we will let you know. So just give us a few minutes to figure this out, and yeah.
Yep. All right, we'll go to intermission. We'll be right back. Ha! are back, and again, this is the end of that big, brutal fight. We were able to get things worked again. We, as a production, have found our ways to deal with the technical issues that come with producing a League of Legends game, apparently. We are getting into it, of course. We are right back at that Baron spot where a team fight had just occurred with Gravity Star winning it out, who have been dominating for most of the game. So looking really good, but if they get this Baron, I mean, this should open up a wide door of possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. With this Baron, I mean, they kind of wiped that team fight. They're now shifting over to Baron, and this should allow them to fully close out this game in a nice, clean fashion, I'm hoping. But we'll see, you know. We're 26 minutes into the game. They've scaled really well. This Maokai now has Luckʼ plus the Knight's Vow, so this Varus is super safe. Renekton is dealing a bunch of damage and just splitting up that backline, so super exciting stuff in these team fights, and we can see just how strong this Varus and Ahri combo is when you get into these team fights. Now, luckily for USC, remember, they stole the dragon, so the side of Orbital game of Gravity Star Esports does not have Soul. That is key. So they don't have Hextech Soul. Can they still close out the game? I think they can. They have enough gold in their wallets. They have about a 4,000 gold lead. This Renekton's super fed. It's going to require 2 people to really match him on any side lane, which gives them a man advantage on the other side of the map. And it's just, that's how, now they just need to 1-3-1, 4-1, somehow make sure they can push down all of these lanes.
I think they're gonna be able to do okay. I trust, you know, as much as you can trust. For the side of USC JV, I think they really just need to kind of send it. I don't really have any other words to put it, but you saw what they could do around that dragon, so you know that hope in a dark place for them. Right now, though, as you said, pressure down the lanes, get control over these side lanes, and really try and keep them at odds. A big part of it is for the side of Gravity Star, they want to crash all the waves at the same time. They want to make sure that all the waves are pushing it around the same rate. That way, they can't really be fully collapsed in just about everywhere. They also want to take out this, I believe, outer tower that is still up ever so barely. It's about halfway through. Maybe even look for a dive on the back end. Take a look at this. Skyo is actually in the front line, which, you know, is actually one of the safest places to be at this current time, as long as you got minions. So, you know, not a bad spot to be in.
Yeah, with that Renekton kind of, they pushed their lane, they walked into that jungle. It really puts a lot of threat on this mid lane tower because it's really hard to step up and defend it. With these Baron minions as well, you have these Akandans, and this is exactly the issue.
I mean, it's a great pull. Great pull to get the flash out of Skyo.
Yeah, and you can see he immediately cleanse flashed, make sure that he got out of it, that no more harm befell him. But it's just what's happening now is they're just getting slowly squeezed out of all resources in this jungle, in these lanes where there's not much that they can do. And when you say full send it, that's exactly what they need to do. They need a brilliant flag and drag play by Little Luck to get into the backline, stop this Varus from being able to free hit, stop this Ahri from being able to free hit, and hope that this Jinx can dish out enough damage to this Renekton, to this Maokai, and to this Blitzcrank to outdamage the likes of the Varus and the Ahri.
There's just so many little pieces to the puzzle here, and at this point, just slim it down. And you mentioned something. You mentioned something that we that I like to talk about a little bit. You mentioned that it feels very like constrained is what they're kind of dealing with for USC JV, and I like the term suffocation. When the opponent just kind of bears down all around you and you can't do anything, it feels suffocating in League when you're not actually allowed to play League because of things like this. Little Luck trying to get out to safety and dodging out on the hook. You're barely able to stave off death. If that kill had come through, I can only imagine what happens afterwards. Dragon is up in about 45 seconds. The suffocation is not as bad now as the waves are now kind of put in the right position. But it is going to cause a little bit of a problem. Little Luck realizing things are a little bit dire. Good Cataclysm to catch one, but Skyo and Teemo are on the wrong side of the map, and that's an easy pinch. Once again, it is Burton and Udeer to run interference. And I fear right now, Ice, that this is all that they wrote.
Yeah, absolutely. 20 seconds left until Dragon spawns again, and that's going to be Soul. You don't have a bot lane in general, so you don't really have a way to contest. Way is your only amount of damage on the map right now. Unfortunately, Aatrox is only sitting on 2 items to the 4 completed items of this Renekton. He just doesn't have the damage he needs to really do anything to the back line here. And that's just going to be a free soul because of the setup play that they had for this Hextech soul here. And very well done to them for that.
I mean, we say it's free, but little Luck has had Luck on their side before. Flag is down, no drag to be had because they're just going to kill him. They're just going to annihilate them. And the body block on the rocket seals the deal. There it is, Hextech soul and then some. If somehow we get a loss out of Gravity Star, it would have to be 6 minutes from now when we are going to see the Elder Dragon available.
And that's if they can last those 6 minutes, right? They've done very good to stem that first Baron push. They need to do it now again in a minute's time when this Baron spawns. They either need to win the fight and take the Baron, which I don't see them doing, or they just need to stem the flow of gold that they're going to give over to the side of Gravity Star Esports on this Baron push so they can have a fighting chance around this Elder Dragon.
There's so many little pieces of the puzzle that we are just sitting here going, what the heck can happen now? There are so many choices that they can make. There are only so many routes that they can go with here. Big Papi is slowly trying to take the evolved blue buff. That always feels bad. With the buff, it just feels a lot better. So, or it's a lot harder to take down. This Baron, though, I'm curious. Where are we going to see that steal? Little Luck has tried their best to get this value. I'm not sure they're going to. They do see this blue buff being taken away. Udeer going to be zapped out, but I mean, tanky guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see he has nice value, he has Locket, and now he's also picked up even more MR to make sure this Way can't get on top of him. He already has enough armor. He knows he needs to survive the AP burst that can come through, and that's exactly what he's itemizing towards now. And then on top of that, the Narcissus on the Renekton has a GA, so you're going to have to kill this guy twice. And that's not going to feel good because you're already going to be hurting from the first time.
It's just, I mean, Narcissus had a game and a half. Like this, I give a huge props. Game number 1, the Olaf was so powerful. The only reason we haven't talked about Narcissus that much is because LVC has popped off. Because LVC has looked like such a dominant player. It's almost overshadowing the likes of this top lane sub who has had a really, really good time. We're not going to see Big Papi to run interference. That's a massive chunk. And, I mean, Zap is going to try and do their best. Keep in mind, remember, this is not LVC on the on-hit build. It's a little bit more, a little bit slower on the burn. That's going to be the Spiraling Despair to try and slow him down, but the hook is going to land. It's going to be death. Unstoppable death, by the way. And now the follow-up behind. It's another catch as Milia goes down right behind. Teemo will not be played. Little Luck running for their life. Flag and Drag is available as the Chomper is going to slow him down, but that's a flash twisted advance, and it's death as that's the collapse that you want. If there was a moment to be had, it was that. 3 are dead. Baron ripe for the taking.
And it all started with the charm from Big Papi onto Jinx, forcing the cleanse out whenever they were doing the little bush cheese there, just trying to play a little protect on this Baron. It forced out that cleanse, so Jinx had to play a lot safer, couldn't walk in like they could with the rest of the team. They had to play a lot safer. They couldn't deal any damage when Zap got caught out. And Zap died after throwing his ultimate, and it just didn't do anything. So you can feel just how far behind even the damage dealers are on the side of USC. And they didn't even take out Narcissus's GA, so he's still going to have that for this upcoming fight, because there's going to be one more fight in this game, and that's going to decide it. If the side of USC wins it, they're going to extend the game for another fight. But if the side of Gravity Star wins, the game's just going to be over.
I think the latter option is unfortunately more available. Even Teemo knows it, flashing the sad eyes. I believe that was the Bumblebee crying. And I think that is so apt right now. Once again, a 1-2-1 full court press from Gravity Star. And Big Papi, 5-1-11, has had a kind of quiet game, I would say. In game 1, didn't have the most amazing standout performance, but was pretty solid. Did their job appropriately. Let's see if they can do it again, holding on against the Aatrox, the rest of the team, pushing down the rest of the lanes and crashing those waves against the towers. There is a moment to see some silliness, to see some glory. I mean, it has to be now, right? If you're looking at USC JV, no catch
Yeah.
just yet. Everyone just kind of hanging on. Ooh.
Ooh. That was a chunk out of Jinx with just like, what was it, one arrow? Chunked her to almost half health, and then the Hextech Soul on top of that chunked a little bit of everybody around. So you can see just the power that this Soul has, and then the power of this Varus being 14-1-4 is full build, and you can absolutely feel the immense power of this pick right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and even a charm now. I don't think heywil is going to enjoy this. That's going to be a dive under the tower. World Ender is only going to speed you up, but that's a chase. Solo kill in. Nature's grass to try and help out as Burton is taken quite low. That's a jump in. Good cleanse to come out here. Big Papi is low, and that's going to be the reset. Hey, this might be the turnaround. However, in the back, Skyo goes down. No resets available anymore. Another death to add to the Foxfires as Big Papi gets a reset. It's 3 dead once again. No ace, but no need, as that is going to be Tower's Gravity Star and a stellar series, cement their 2-2 record, and all but ensure that they'll make it to playoffs.
Absolutely, and we talked about that at the beginning of this game, how crucial this game was for playoffs. Now, Gravity Star going 2-2, securing that third place spot coming into now Thursday. I said next week. Next week is technically Thursday for these teams, so it's very important that they play really well in this upcoming week as well. So whoever actually, because of the standings, I'm going to pull them up right now. So that puts Gravity Star 2-2. That puts Orbit Gaming Astral and USC JV Esports at 1-3. The teams that they're playing next week, if I pull this up, are, let's see, USC is playing Fate Esports. So with that, Fate Esports is 0-4. So if JV come through and win, that'll put them at 2-3. And if you look at Orbit Gaming Astral, they're playing Gravity Star. So you really feel for Orbit Gaming Astral, they have to win that to then force a 3-way tie for 3rd and 4th. And those are the 2 spots that are being fought over in this group right now, as Lit Esports and the Timbit Toddlers, those 2 are playing each other for the 1st seed.
Crazy things to think about. And all that goes out in just 48 hours. I'm more than excited to see what they can do. But tonight was all Gravity Star's stage. They gave us an amazing 2-act series. And I couldn't ask for a better one to cast. Ice, it was great working with you here tonight, and hopefully everyone enjoyed it as well. Shout out to our producer and observer, Gooby, for getting over those technical issues that Riot likes to throw our way. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a fantastic night.